Hi, I'm Dustin Abbott, and last year I reviewed the popular Yaber K2S smart projector. Now this year they have released a new version, the K3. There's also a K3 Pro that's available if you're so inclined. The next generation of this projector, the operative word is more. It has more smart integration, it has more brightness, it has more volume, can even do more picture size, as you can see behind me. And it's also more in terms of size and a bit more in terms of cost, though that's the smallest increase at about $100 difference between the two. Now, as far as the overall specifications, this is double the lumen rating at 1600 versus 800 ANSI lumens for the older projector. It has 50% more sound. The older projector had two 10-watt JBL speakers. The new one has two 15-watt JBL speakers that produce actually a surprisingly full sound. And you can also move to a Pro version that adds a separate subwoofer, and so that you can really have full sound if you don't have an additional audio solution. By the way, that Pro version will cost you about $100 more. This can be used as a Bluetooth speaker as well if you don't have something like that, and so that you can get some audio even when you're not watching something. There's been a pretty huge improvement to the overall implementation. The older version, there was an actual Wi-Fi dongle or a dongle for the smart TV type application that had to be installed, and then you ended up with two remotes. One that was kind of the projector remote, and another that was the kind of smart TV or app type control. Now we have moved into a fully integrated kind of smart TV solution here. This is a full Google TV integration device, which means that the remote looks very familiar to other Google TV type remotes. The setup process is really simplistic. It's just the same as setting up any other Google TV. You can use your smartphone to do a lot of the work, and you have to wait as Google, of course, runs the process. But within a matter of minutes, you can be fully set up and have your own kind of interface ported over that would match any of the other setups you have elsewhere. And so it's quite a smart kind of integration. You also have full Alexa volume control through the remote itself once you've set that up, and so that you can raise volume or open specific apps just by using your voice, or even more useful, you can actually do search engine things if you're looking for specific content by using your voice. So obviously that's going to be very useful, and it's not something you had in either one of these remotes previously. Now, the actual resolution here is 1080p, as before, 1920 by 1080. That is the native resolution running at 60 hertz. You can watch 4K content. It does support 4K, but it's not natively 4K, and it's important to understand that distinction. Now, importantly, as you can see behind me, not only is the picture much brighter and the colors more intense on this new display compared to the other, which looks quite small and washed out, but as you can see, even though they're set up at an equal distance from the wall behind me, the new projector is capable of throwing a much larger picture over a smaller area. That's really important because it adds versatility. Both of them, in theory, can support up to a 200-inch display, though obviously that's going to be really washed out with the old model. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Even with the new one, I'm not sure that I would go quite that far. It looks quite good on my 100-inch projector, or screen, I should say, that I have set up. But the difference is that even at a close distance, you can get a much larger picture, and you can get up to that maximum size of 200 inches at a distance of only 17 feet, whereas the other one, it needed to be over 22 feet to achieve the same thing. So that means you have more flexibility in a smaller space to accomplish the size of picture that you want or you need according to your display area. This new projector is still Wi-Fi 6 compatible. That is faster and has lower latency compared to older Wi-Fi options. There is the new Wi-Fi 7 that it's not ready for yet. It does have a quiet mode, and I would say, as I sit here in between the two projectors, the sound, just as they're running in normal mode, is about the same between the two. Both of them, if you're sitting next to them, they will throw off some heat. They have an internal cooling system that is moving heat off, and it will put it out through these vents on the side. So if you happen to be sitting right next to the projector, you'll feel a little bit of heat blowing off of it. If it's cold, as it is right now, that's a good thing. If it's in summer, not so much. Through the back, there are a variety of ports here. You have a couple of HDMI ports. You have a USB-C and a USB-A port. Now, through those USB ports, you can plug in any kind of file format and do playback on that. I've used that in teaching classes before, just throw a USB key into the back of it, can be very useful for that. And it supports basically all of the file formats. I won't list them all, but basically all of the different wrappers that you could think of, it is compatible with a broad range of compatibility, so very flexible for that. One thing that has been added here is a LAN port on the back, Ethernet port. It's an RJ45 that will allow you to run an actual Ethernet plug right in if you prefer a wired connection over a wireless connection. I will also note that they claim that the life of the projector, which is mostly going to be the lamp life, is up to 30,000 hours, which is pretty fantastic. So let's talk about some things that I like and then some things that I don't like so much. First of all, I do really love the fact of the setup process here. The fact that we have that full Google TV integration means that setup is really straightforward, particularly if you've done that Google process in other devices before. But very quickly, you can have everything set up. The actual menu here is pretty simple to navigate, no problems there. I also find that the auto keystoning, auto focus, all of those things, the kind of built-in corrections, they actually work really quite well in this application. And so as a byproduct, you're able to, you don't have to really mess around with trying to tweak the focus or keystoning. It does all of those things quite well. I found that it was bright enough for my tested applications. Obviously, it is much improved over previously. When I'm shooting onto that 100-inch screen in dim conditions, it looks good. In certain scenes, it looks a little washed out. And of course, my typical viewing, I'm used to looking at a higher-end display. And so, you get kind of spoiled by that. And projectors have to be pretty high-end to match the kind of like black levels and overall brightness you're able to achieve with an HDR display, which is what I'm accustomed to looking at. But I would say that overall, obviously, it is vastly improved of what we were previously working with. And I think for most people in most applications, it should work pretty well for you. If you have a lot of ambient light coming into your viewing space, it is going to look a little bit washed out. So be aware of that. However, overall, the picture quality looks quite good. I appreciate the fact that you have one very straightforward and easy to use remote. I like that a lot. The sound is actually pretty impressive. Impressive enough that you could actually use it if you were just doing casual viewing, or you're not someone who's big on sound and you don't want a big hi-fi kind of setup. Well, this might work for you, particularly if you opt for the Pro version and you get the optional subwoofer to come along with it. I also found that one big improvement if you're using Bluetooth, in this case I was using a good Bluetooth speaker to try that for audio and trying to do that Bluetooth sync. With the older model, I definitely noticed some Bluetooth lag. In this newer model, I couldn't really see it, and so that is improvement in that regard. And so a lot of good things that I can point to in video, audio, and then the overall ease of use, great on all those things. So on the negative side of things, what I don't love is that, like the older version that I reviewed before, this comes with no case, which means that you're going to have to source a case if you want to have something, if you're going to move it around. So I bought a case for the K2S model, but of course, because the size has changed, this doesn't really fit in the case that I bought for the K2S. So, kind of disappointing there. This is bigger and heavier. And as you can see, in terms of the physical quality, it is deeper. It is mostly longer, not so much wider, but it is longer. It's a bigger unit all around. It is heavier. The older unit weighed in at 3.2 kilos. This new K3 runs at 5.1 kilos. So it's gained about 1.5 kilos in weight. And so it is, it's big. And as noted previously, in some viewing conditions, it can get a little bit washed out if, it's much brighter, but all of that is relative. You still need a lot of lumens to overpower native light. And so I appreciate the extra brightness, the extra color saturation, the added picture quality, all of that's great. And I think it's definitely worth the price of upgrade over this one if you're considering between these two models. So that leads me to my conclusion. Even though this is bigger and larger, if you can tolerate that, particularly maybe if you're ceiling mounting it and it's not really going to be in your way, I think that you're going to find that this is the smarter choice over the about $100 cheaper K2S older model. This newer model is better in basically every way. It's friendlier and easier to use, better picture, better sound. It runs you at about $500 right now on, or 670 Canadian dollars here in Canada. You're going to pay about $100 more if you want that extra subwoofer in the Pro version, so be aware of that. At the end of the day, however, though, this is a pretty sweet little portable, smart setup. And, you know, I'm still pretty astounded because I'm old enough to remember back when projectors that were far inferior to this cost many thousands of dollars. And so the fact that we can get such a competent projector at a price of $500 is pretty awesome. I'm Dustin Abbott. If you want more information, you can check out the links provided in the description below, where you can look up more information about the projector itself, or you can go to Amazon and purchase one there as well. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and let the light in.